Alright, this is Dan House here, very nice, very evil. You are watching True Heel Heat. Probably should have had MJF do this, but here we are.
Alright, ready when you are.
Hey guys, I may have go away heat, but these guys have true heel heat. So you better listen to the podcast or else I'm gonna kick you in your fucking cock and balls.
I'll get it.
Hey guys, it's Dan Rosa and welcome to True Heel Heat.
Hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom, SP3, and we are back once again with another Scream video. This time, we are ranking every single film in the Scream franchise. Every single film from 1 through 7 here, as only we can. And to do that, I am, of course, joined once again by my fellow Scream enthusiasts, my fellow Ghostface Stan, the one and only StatKing, John Martin. StatKing, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. You know, there's been a lot of conversation since Scream 7 came out about where it stands in the pantheon of Screams, where these ghost faces would have their memorial in the Ritchie Memorial Shrine that was built in New York. So we're gonna get into where 7 ranks in comparison to the others and where all the others rank. It's gonna be a good time. Colleen asked me what we were talking about for this video. I told her we were ranking all of them, and so she just said, "So you guys are going to be there for 3 hours?" And I said, "No, maybe."
No. This is going to be a shorter one. We went very long on like the Scream 7, Scream 6 reviews. This one is more of, I'm going to give my number 7. You'll give your number 7. I'll give my number 6. You give your number 6. We'll explain why we got them ranked in the place that we got them. This will be on the shorter side. This will be more comparable to our Scream 1 review where we were like, we love everything about this. Yeah, no notes. We love everything about this. So great time. But we appreciate y'all if you're joining us for the premiere. We appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. Want to thank you all for all the support for our Scream coverage. We've reviewed every single film in this series, in this franchise, and we appreciate all the support that we've got in regards to that. And of course, we appreciate y'all if you're watching this right now. If you haven't already, show your appreciation back the simplest way possible. Drop a thumbs up on the video. Share this video with all your Scream fans, family, and friends on all your favorite social media platforms. If you are new to the True Heel Heat Sports and Entertainment YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. You can also sound off in the comments section. Let us know your ranking for every single Scream film. And if you are with us watching the premiere, you can let us know in the live chat your ranking as well. But without further ado, we're going to get into things here, and we will start off with number 7. This is going to be our Scream ranking, so we're going to go from the least enjoyable, or the bottom, or the worst Scream, however you want to say it. I'll say it nicely, the one that's lesser than the others. But we're going to go all the way to the best, and we're ranking this based on, enjoyability, replayability. The Ghostface reveal is so important in a Scream film. The different characters as well, like we've done with all the reviews that we've done thus far. We've said who the best characters are. The story is, of course, very important, as well as the script, and of course, its longevity, its legacy within the franchise. That is all the categories we are ranking this on. So, John, you know what? I'm going to give you the honor. Start us off. What is your number 7 on our Scream ranking?
Well, I would probably have to give this one a little bit of a cop-out for rewatchability, because it's tough at the moment to do rewatchability for it, and maybe that score might change. But if I was gonna say the Scream that we'll say had the shallowest stabbed the shallowest, that would have to be for me Scream 7. The newest one, probably not what Paramount wants to hear, but they also are experiencing. I think even with a huge drop off, they're gonna have the best box office performance out of the entire franchise, and not adjusted for inflation because of when Scream 1 and 2 came out. But I think it has to be Scream 7. It just does feel like a step back, and it feels like a step forward in some respects for certain characters and moving beyond certain things. But in other respects, it does feel like a step back, and you can kind of see where Kevin Williamson, as talented as he is, was forced to try to sort of come up with things on the fly. And while that worked for Scream 4, it worked to a certain extent with Scream 3. It can be detrimental. And so when you see that others have been able to execute either slightly better, you kind of have to drop this one down. So for me, it'd be Scream 7.
I gotta agree with you. My number 7 is also Scream 7. This felt like the first time that I came out watching, like, we can't really rank it on rewatchability quite yet.
Right.
You need years upon years to kind of get that. But as far as like first watch, this is probably the worst I felt about a Scream film coming out of watching it or coming out of the theater. Like, this was the worst feeling because I just rolled my eyes so many times. And like you said, like and this really comes down to desperation. It was desperation, grasping as straws, because the original idea couldn't come into fruition because of everything that went on behind the scenes. Their second idea couldn't come to fruition because the director dropped off. And then you went back to basics. I feel like premise-wise and the way they went about this being a legacy sequel, I think that there's ways that this could have been better than like Scream 5 in that you're giving a more natural passing of the torch from Sidney to her daughter, but just the execution, the logic holes, the lack of engaging characters throughout the entire film, and then you get down to the worst third act in Scream history. Yeah, this has to be the bottom of the list.
Yeah, it's tough when every other movie, the reveal involved somebody who had been on camera for a lot of the movie, like even if they'd been in the background. And for this to involve the reveal being somebody who had been in 2 scenes and somebody who had been in 1 scene, it's hard to hit. It's hard to go, oh shit, this is the person that's trying to kill these characters that you want me to care about. I need to then also care about who the killer could be versus just, oh, it's just this sense of danger. So Scream 7 didn't really have that.
Yeah, it just missed the mark. Hopefully they can rebound from this and they learn their lessons and they give us more characters that's like a little bit more that you can sink your teeth into, and just a better layout, less logic holes, less kind of a suspension of disbelief. I'm all for that. I watch professional wrestling, but this took a little too much out of me for it. So let's move on to number 6. I will go first on this one. And number 6, for the longest time, it's been in this position because there was only 6 films, but it is not at the bottom anymore. Scream 3 is where I got at number 6. Scream 3, I thought was, like I said, like we established during our review, this was our kind of introduction, both of us, into the Scream universe. So I like the mixture of horror meets comedy that made it more kind of like the door seemed more cracked for me to get into this series because I'm not the biggest horror fan, but this had enough comedy to make me be like, oh, this is cool. I'm interested in this. Let me watch all the previous ones, and made me a fan of Scream. But yeah, this is another one that has a lot of logic holes. The heroine of Sidney is not really featured all that much in the first half, and a lot of that comes down to the changes that they did. A lot, the fact that it's one Ghostface is interesting. It is intriguing of a plot point, but when you think about it for a minute or two, it doesn't make any sense that it's one Ghostface. So like you could tell that that's also kind of something that they kind of just went on the fly and went with that in that direction. And the fact that there's no interaction between Roman and Sidney prior to the reveal, it does take a little bit of the sting off of the reveal. I do like the motive and everything that he said because of it, but it kind of too much rewrites what we already know about the Scream franchise instead of turning it on its head a bit. So for all those reasons, that's why I have Scream 3 at number 6. What about you?
Yeah, it reminds me of that video where the store manager or store owner is like, "Congratulations, you have been promoted. You are my," because again, I'm with you there. Scream 3 is my number 6 movie as well, and it's no longer the last one. To your point about the idea of changing a lot of the history, it really would have made sense, but for the fact that it removes like why now is Roman doing what he's doing himself?
Yeah.
Like, why is he now targeting his the producer? Why is he now trying to get after Sidney? It didn't fully make sense if he was willing to have waited, such a long period of time, but also more importantly to go through other people. And so I think if he had done like a couple lines of dialogue had been changed slightly and said, "At first, I didn't think I needed to be the one who plunged the knife into you, but when other people couldn't get the job done, I realized it had to be me. But then you fell off the face of the earth, and I had to find you." That little change, like to your point about recontextualizing the past, recontextualizes why it's taken him so long to be able to do this, and he felt he needed to be directing a stab movie. And so he had to build himself up as a director to the point where he would be able to get a stab movie. Now that he has one, he's able to put his plan into place. So sometimes it's little changes that will allow a movie to not be in the last position. In this case, for Scream 3, it was another movie coming out, and that's why it's not in the last position. But yeah, there's just enough here where it shows you what the franchise is and shows you what the franchise could be. And that's why for somebody like you and I watching that for the first time, and that's our introduction, we're like, yeah, we do want to see what came before this. If this is the third one, what was good enough about the previous two, or what was great about the previous two movies that made them greenlight this sequel? So now I'm interested in seeing it. And as we found out, there were some great things in those movies.
Because everything from this point on, I feel, are either good to great all-timer movies. So we will go to number 5. Who do you have? What film do you have at number 5?
So this one's an interesting one because I think they both follow the same. They both really do follow a very similar plot structure, plot beat by beat. So I'll go with The Imitation versus the original, and I'll put Scream 6 here. Scream 6 was very good to me. I really did appreciate the fact that they moved it not just out of Woodsboro, but really out of a full comfort zone. Even in the college movie of Scream 2, which is what 6 is based off of, it is a much more suburban, rural college versus putting it right in the smack dab in the center of the densest city in the United States, in New York. And because like when you just kind of copy the setting of Woodsboro and just kind of just go like, oh, but now it's a college town, it doesn't change as much. It doesn't add as much as a character. Whereas New York really is its own character. Something as simple as our opening kill, where Samara Weaving's character is walking through that back alley, and you and I talked about it, like that really does feel like New York. Or the infamous subway scene, that really does feel like New York. And the idea that it would be really difficult to have something like this in a much more rural or suburban college setting. You just really can't do it. There's no subway. There's not enough people. Like maybe you do buses, but that would just be kind of, I don't know, it'd be kind of weird. Yeah. So there are a lot of things that really work for this movie. However, at the end, this idea that all 3 of these family members really got behind this idea that we're going to, like, if the children had seemed a little bit more reluctant, like if they had been like, yeah, Dad really likes Richie a little bit too much, a little bit too much. Like, I think it would have gone, like, they're kind of just dragged along, and they're like, well, because I think one aspect of Scream that really works is that somebody, and why multiple ghost faces work very well, is that one person sort of really does need to be deranged, and one person really needs to want it for personal reasons. Like in one, Billy wants it for personal reasons. Stu is just a little bit deranged. So I think here in this situation, if we had seen that the father really wanted it for personal reasons, because he's like, you killed my son, and the siblings kind of were dragged along for the ride, but then we're like, I didn't get it. But then the first time I killed somebody, I got it. And then we're like, oh, okay, no, there's something wrong there. There's a little something wrong there. I think it would have done a bit more to elevate it. But for those reasons, I got Scream 6 at number 5.
I gotta agree with you again. Yeah, I got number 5. I got Scream 6. I really enjoy the New York aesthetics of this. This is the one Scream film where I'm disappointed I didn't go to a movie theater to watch, because I would have been on the edge of my seat watching all the different kills in this movie, from the opening kill with Samara Weaver, with the subway scene, with the bodega scene.
Imagine you'd been in New York.
Yes, in New York, watching this movie. Oh man,
you would have hit me up like, I thought I was gonna be Omar Epps in this movie.
I was like, I made sure I didn't go to the bathroom while the movie was going on and didn't listen to the stall at all. But yeah, this is really well done film, as far as like how it looked, how they presented New York as its own character. Really like the growth and the evolution of the Carpenter sisters in this film. I like Tara taking more of a lead role. I like Mindy getting closer to being on the money with her predictions, and how the rules changed and were altered quite a bit. But this is like you said, this movie is so good 2/3 of the way in, and the third act has its highs as well, with the whole twist of, oh, is Kirby the person behind it, is she not? But it was so obvious, like most of the film, that Detective Bailey was there was more to Detective Bailey than meets the eye, and just the reveal of it being a derivative of Scream 2 kind of takes this down quite a bit. So I think it's a good movie. It's not just like very good, great, like the rest of the films that we're going to mention here. So that's why I have Scream 6 at number 5. Number 4 for me, I know I kind of heard with your intro for Scream 6 where you're going with this one, but I'm going to actually go at number 4, Scream 5. I think that it's a very well done legacy sequel. It's a very well done legacy sequel, and how we have this kind of like new heroine that has a bit of an edge to her, that she's the daughter of Billy Loomis in Sam Carpenter. I think that it makes her a very engaging character to watch progress throughout Scream 5 and 6. But I just think that, there's issues with this film quite a bit. Like my biggest issue is a 5'4" girl killing Dewey. Like that because his phone goes off. Like the stupidity of that is just like too much for me. After Dewey has survived so much through the first 4 films, for that to be the end of his story kind of feels deflating quite a bit. I think the third act is so well done and such a kind of callback to Scream 1. There's really high highs here, and it set up a whole new trilogy for the Scream franchise. It did what Part 4 wanted to do, and it did it to perfection. I know for a lot of people that this one ages badly, but for me, I enjoyed it when we rewatched it for our review, and I still have it ranked quite highly here. At number 4, I got Scream 5. What you got at number 4?
So for me, this one is Scream 2. The Scream 2 is, like you said, all these movies now that we're getting into are either good or great, and I have this like right on the cusp of being great. I like how this is, because this is the first time we're leaving Woodsboro. We are in a now college setting, rural or suburban, but still it is a different setting than Woodsboro. But that doesn't really feel anything like super special in that sense, because like you're thinking, oh, it's a natural progression, right? Like we haven't been to Woodsboro over and over again for it to feel this setting change to feel different. It just feels as though, yeah, they're making a sequel, so we have to do something different. So we did something different. We put them in college. But for Scream 2, what I like about it is the change up in some of the characters and having more of the movies themselves be a commentary, like be an aspect of it. Like here we do have, like, as much as Mickey is a weirdo, he does his conversations about sequels. It does help to kind of balance Randy, in the sense that Randy doesn't come across as though he's the only weird guy who really likes movies. The fact that there's somebody else that's constantly talking about this helps to really cement the idea of what Scream is and what Scream is going to be for the future. But at the same time, I didn't like, once we got the reveal of Nancy Loomis being the mom, and it's Deborah Salt and all that kind of thing, like, a part of me was just, it felt as though it was very Jason-y, where it's like the mom is like losing her mind because the son died. And it's like, I get it, parents will want to have revenge and things like that, but at the same time, it just didn't feel as though it was what like the idea of leaning more into the movie side of things versus the family side of things. And I think that's why I prefer a Scream that has that movie sort of like this, the search for fame, or the search for fame and fortune and that kind of thing being a little bit more of the forefront of the ghost faces, except for the one that really kicks it all off. But the other aspect to me is that for Scream 2, it just felt as though, like, that the lead up into the finale was very, it just didn't feel like, it felt as though it kind of devolved into just generic horror, where it was like, oh yeah, we're stuck in a cop car and this guy is just super strong and we're not going to play this smart. When part of what Sidney is been building towards is like this idea of being smart. So like when she makes smart choices, we're like, yes, cool. And sometimes you, like we said when we were doing the review from Scream 2 into Scream 3, sometimes you need that gap of maturity to understand, yeah, you just got to sometimes have a gun and, you know, protect yourself and so on and so forth. But some of the decisions that she makes here, it's just like it does kind of feel as though it flies in the logic of what made her a great heroine in Scream 1. And then the last part was that some of it is just like pure convenience. Like, if dude's fraternity brothers don't kidnap him and tie him to a thing on the Greek tragedy play, does the finale of this movie happen elsewhere? Like, how does that work? Like, that's like that part of it. Like, it's similar to how I disagree with Baron Zemo's plan in Captain America Civil War, because at the end of the movie, it's pure dumb luck. It's pure sheer luck that required, like, Zemo, the entire movie is to get Cap and Tony in the same room at the same time so he can show the video, because he knows that Tony's going to lose his mind about his mom and dad being killed. But in order to do that, he is relying upon Falcon telling Tony where Cap went. That's sheer dumb luck. It's like that there's no way to be able to tell that at this point in time Falcon's going to want to trust this guy. So in here, it's sheer dumb luck that these people kidnap this person and then also bring him to this specific spot where you want to try to have this finale. So I don't know, that for that part of me, it's like it just kind of pulled me out. But to your point, good but to great, these are like minor nitpicks. But for me, that's why it moves down.
All right. Who do you have at which movie do you have at number 3?
So for this one, I have Scream 5. Scream 5 for me is a great entry in the series, because what you were saying, it did a great job of revitalizing the franchise. Like, it really did, because if we think about the attempt that was Scream 4, for good or for bad, that means that they could not get this franchise going from when Scream 3 came out to Scream 5. That's like a 20-year gap. that's pretty incredible that this movie was then able to revitalize the franchise to the point that not only did it get Scream 6, but it was able to then let us down with Scream 7. So like I have to at least appreciate the fact that they got the ability to make Scream 6 and 7 because of what Scream 5 did. So 5 is fascinating to me because it does, similarly to how 6 pulls us out of Woodsboro and pulls Sidney out of the narrative, this one really shifts the focus to new characters. And it does, I think, the mistake of Scream 4 was that it still tried to focus so much on Sidney versus who they wanted to have be the main character. And here, by putting the focus purely on those two individuals from the start, really the one, because it's more of Sam's story than Tara's story, it does set a really great precedent and a really great tone. We also have a fun reason for the killers. They're leaning much more into the movie aspect, and I think what also is cool about it is this same. There's the juxtaposition of Sam could be anybody. She just happens to be Billy Loomis's daughter, and Amber is anybody and is trying to become somebody on the level of Sam's daughter when it comes to fame. And so it's that idea that, you know, what made Sidney special? Nothing. It just so happened that her mom cheated on, you know, like did X, Y. Like that's what made her special. So this idea of recreating that, Amber does feel like a really cool villain because it doesn't feel throwaway in the sense that she's just doing whatever she's doing. There is that level of derangement that you see. And then you also have the person that leans heavily into the movies in Richie. And you can see from Richie's perspective how he feels in his mind. He's just a director with a camera. And he's writing scenes as he goes along. And it's like to the point where he's looking at her, and it, as much as there's the, obviously, because like it's early 90s and it's that, you know, the final girl, if she loses her virginity, she's gonna die kind of thing, like that. And in Scream 1 that's referenced, it doesn't feel as knife twisting as when Richie's just like, yeah, you know, I knew about this the whole time. It didn't hurt me that much when I was fucking you. And Sam's like, oh, now I really got to kill you. It's like, you asshole.
So like it makes that final scene when she just starts, so gratifying. Yes.
But yeah, that's why I got Scream 5 at number 3.
Yeah, we're swapping place once again here. I got Scream 2 at number 3. Scream 2, I feel, was such a great sequel. I think that there is a lot of things that they took from Scream 1, but they just adapted it or turned it up a bit, like Randy tells us with the rules. The fact that we still got Randy in the film, also, he's one of the best characters from Scream 1. He's one of the best characters in this movie, and him being in the first half, and I think his kill is one of the best kills of any of the Scream slashers with Ghostface. I think that, you know, the dynamic between Dewey and Gale and how it's basically progressed from Scream 1 was really well done, and you can see the chemistry like jumping off the screen. I like the kind of little additions and the development of Sidney's character, where she's not like the wisest, but she's a little bit more aware of her situation with, you know, getting the prank calls early on, then how she reacts to all the killings that are happening. She's on alert as soon as that first killing happens in the first scene. But that scene, I think that's the best opening in Scream history. Just to see like the movie theater and how wild it is. You got big time actress and actor in Omar Epps and Jada Pinkett, and just seeing them get slashed during a stab film, that is like meta on meta to the max. It is so creative for a film that came out in 1997. I feel like this film has aged very well as well. Not as well as probably my number 2, but I think it still has aged wonderfully over time. And just, I think that the different set pieces that they create, I know you brought up the police car scene as like a negative. I think that's that's a positive. That's one of my favorite set pieces, and just Sidney having to climb over Ghostface and stuff like that. So really well done. I do like, I will say I do prefer Mickey over Nancy Loomis, but I think both reveals are very well done, and these are characters that you could have like pointed out, like, oh, there's something up with them. They're either going to get killed or they're going to be a killer here. And you know, Mickey was very like overt with him trying to put suspicion on the boyfriend, Deborah Salt, and how she was always around Gale, and then putting suspicion on the people that came from Woodsboro and suggesting that the killer comes from Woodsboro, kind of giving away that she's from Woodsboro. That stuff is very well done to look back on. Most of all, the reason why it's in the top 3 for me, Dwayne Martin, the smartest black man in a Joel, the smartest black man in a horror film in horror film history.
I mean, you know, they kind of had to redeem themselves for how Omar Epps went out. So
you know, they balance the scales here. They balance the scale, and to find out that was his idea, that he just leaves. Brilliant stuff. So yeah, Scream 2 at number 3 for me, and I think that we're gonna be on the same page with the final 2 here. Coming in at number 2 for me, Scream 4. This is the best age Scream even more than Scream 1. Scream 1 is kind of like timeless, and I think like the first time you watch it, you're like, oh, that's timeless. That's going to be a timeless film. You can go back and watch it all the time. But Scream 4 was basically criticized all around. Like, it got the lowest box office of any Scream film. It was not reviewed very well. And I complained about certain stuff still to this day, like how it looks like a very like smudged look throughout it. It kind of makes it look like a Lifetime film at certain points. But man, just the narrative, the story that's told, the script, it's so smart. It's so ahead of its time. Whereas Scream 4 came out in 2026 instead of Scream 7, you would have people talking about this film being the best Scream out of all of them, because it was very much ahead of its time, where it would be more relevant in 2026 than it was in 2011. So to kind of have a half and half hero or heroines in this with Jill and Sidney, I think they did that very well done. You got these great side characters like Kirby, who's just a standout to the point that they kept her alive and bring her back years later. I think Dewey and Gale, we finally get a film where they're actually together at the start and they actually have been married for 10 years, so that's a whole different dynamic to everything. Dewey's now the sheriff. You also got Deputy, the deputy, who's a memorable side character in this film as well. Sidney's assistant is a memorable side character. Like, they have these side characters that are still talked about to this day, and even ones that are talked about for how bad they were, like Trevor. Like, this is how good this film is, where you have the good, the bad, the indifferent. You got memorable kill scenes like Jill's mom getting killed through the mail slide, or the whole stab-a-thon scene is very memorable, with Gale almost looking like she was going to get killed. How Sidney's assistant gets thrown off of the parking lot. You got Anthony Anderson and Adam Brody playing two random cops who get a memorable kill as well, where Anthony Anderson gets stabbed in the head. Like, this film is everlasting, and it has the best. I love, don't get me wrong, I love the reveal in Scream 1. This is the best Ghostface reveal of all time. It is, because it's a twist that if you never watch this film, you won't see it coming. You really won't see it coming. They did drop the breadcrumbs and sow the seeds, but the delivery, the impact, and everything, the motive is on point with wanting the fame and using social media and filming all the kills and trying to re-up the Stab franchise, and Jill's explanation about basically turning on Charlie because there's only one survivor and there's got to be a Billy and a Stu. From A to Z, the only thing that I think that I would have changed is I would have went with the first version, and that's Jill getting away with it. If Jill gets away with this might be number one for me.
That's fair. I can absolutely see that. I mean, I get it. Like, sometimes sometimes I think when they do these test screenings and they get test audiences and stuff like that, they need to make sure that the people know, like what franchise it is. Like, because like if you are looking at this from just a regular horror movie perspective, then you're like, yeah, why would we want Jill to live? But if you're looking at this from Scream's perspective, you're like, oh, this is something brand new. This is something super, like each movie does something different from Scream 1 and introduces something new. Scream 2, we get the college setting and we get the kills in such a public place. Whereas in the first movie, it's somebody all by themselves. In 3, we have more of that movie aspect that's going on, and we have Sidney being less of a main character, but being vitally important to the storyline. In 4, what we have here is this idea that Sidney is like, first we have broad daylight kill with Deputy Hicks. Oh, sorry, no, that's 5. That's 5.
No, it's 5.
That's 5. That 5 has the broad daylight kill. But what 4 does that's fascinating is the idea that it's somebody so close to Sidney that it's the person who is related to her that you would think would have the most, like, what is blood thicker than water, right, kind of thing, like that aspect of it. And it's this situation, it proves blood isn't always thicker than water. Sometimes water is thicker in the sense of Dewey and Gale, and it's the shared experiences that allow someone to overcome what might be considered like a stronger bond of blood. And we have these fascinating kills, like through the mail slot. Who, I don't know who thought of that, but whoever did should have got a raise. Like, when they said, they're like, you could stab someone through a mail slot. The first question is, how do you know? And then the second question is, would you like an extra 10 grand? Like, would you just because who comes up with these things? But all of this movie is great because it does develop people further. We get Gale feeling pigeonholed in being a small town, in a small town setting. She doesn't really know how to define herself in relation to the fact that her husband is comfortable, her husband is happy, he's doing what he wants to do, but she doesn't feel fulfilled. How does she find that fulfillment? Then she's also dealing with the fact that there's somebody who seems tailor-made for her husband to be his wife, as versus her who is challenging her, it seems, for that position. And so she's like, it's the way they also develop some of the side characters is really great. And Jill feels like a living, breathing person. Charlie feels like a living, breathing person. Kirby is one of the best characters that has been created for Scream, and Hayden Panettiere does a great job at it too, because she's not Randy in a sense that she is Randy in that she's a big horror movie person, but she's not Randy in that she has the social skills to be able to navigate through everything. So it's like a little twist on the tail, but that twist just adds something to it. So this movie is so great from almost every single aspect. And I think the only thing like I've ever had issue with was I felt the stab-a-thon. See, it took too long. Which is a great nitpick to have. I'm like, all right, yeah, like this could have been done faster, but okay. Like, what else are you gonna knock this movie for? So yeah, it is a worthy number 2. And to your point, I think if Jill had survived, I probably also might have had this at number 1, but it's tough to beat the original.
It is tough to beat the original, so that means at number 1 we both got Scream 1, Scream 1996. And what can you say about this film that hasn't been said before? I think it is the greatest horror film of all time. Sidney Prescott is one of, if not, I would say she's the greatest final girl of all time. Just a complex character who has so much trauma from her mother dying and being murdered in the way that she was, and then realizing that she never knew her, realizing that she had pointed the finger to the wrong guy, and that they're still the same killer that killed their mom is now coming after her, and just the complex and very deranged characters that is both Billy and Stu, and how they give away themselves in like 20 minutes into the film. The fountain scene happens, and that gives away who our killers are, but the way they kind of They
but
throw like flares and stuff.
It sets the tone that this is not just like going to be an average scary movie. You've got to be paying attention.
Yeah, they definitely put that out there, and it's the fact that you never in that time, especially in 1996, you never had a horror film that knew that the characters knew they were in a horror film. Right. Like that is something that's so meta at a time where meta wasn't even a word, and it's so creative in so many different ways. I know the definition of creative. I got reminded of it earlier today, but it's so creative because it's original. It's an original. It's not a derivative of anything else. And yes, there's going to be some derivatives because it is based on other horror films, and you get mentions of the rules. The rules is so well done. You have a character like Randy that knows horror films back and front, that is basically abiding by these rules that you've seen time and time again, working at a video store in that as well. The different kills are just so well done. The opening scene is an all-timer. Like I said, I think Scream 2 has the best opening, but this is close, and I wouldn't mind anyone who said this is the best opening scene. It's like a short film within itself. Like that could have been the film altogether, and I think people would be like, it's one of the greatest short films of all time, with how Drew Barrymore's character and the fact that it was such a huge risk of the biggest actress in the whole film getting murdered in the first scene, and she was supposed to be Sidney to begin with. All of that adds up to just this historic, legendary film that is timeless, and I think it's a long shot at this point, especially seeing the output with Scream 7, that there will ever be a better Scream than the first one.
It would be really tough. I don't know how they would pull it off. And that is kind of one of the problems of having a franchise that goes this long. It's just like kind of that law of diminishing returns. It's like, at what point can you come up with a reveal that can top or motivations that will top what was happening in the first one, particularly because you've now conditioned the audience to kind of want that. And it is tough because this one just knocked it out of the park so well. The idea that you would murder somebody as famous as Drew Barrymore this early in the movie, like that is such a risk to take, because you don't know, you don't know how that audience is going to respond. And I'm sure they may have had their test audiences in that situation, but a part of it is just, you got to roll the dice. And that level of swerve, it's not a swerve for the sake of doing a swerve. It's a swerve for the sake of creating the sense of anybody can die at any point in time, which is hilarious when viewed from the lens that this is not designed to be a horror movie. Like, it's not designed to be Jason or Halloween or Nightmare on Elm Street. It's not designed to be one of those over the top, really scary movies that you're like, oh, Jesus Christ. It's designed to prey upon the ideas of anybody could go crazy at any point in time. And I remember when I was a kid, I watched the first Halloween, and then because I said to you one of our reviews that I have such a large amount of family members that live in the area around me where I grew up. After watching the first Halloween, I started making a list of family members that I thought could go crazy and try to kill me. Because I was like, hey, who knows? Who knows what could happen?
It's true.
But if you think about it, they would die in the sense of, if you shot them, they would die. Michael Myers just comes back, and it's like, okay, now it's getting a little bit. But here, because there are, as I think it's Amber and Richie say in Scream 5, they're like, our movie has stakes. Like, because there are real stakes in the Scream franchises where people really can and do die, the bad guys. This idea that it could be anybody and you don't know, and it's how do you really know the people around you? And sure, these are high school kids, so it's like, yeah, you know this person in the sense of like it's a 15-year-old or 16-year-old that you kind of grew up with. But that it does kind of reevaluate or force anybody to reevaluate what it is about all the people around them that they really know and they can trust. And that, to me, is true horror. When it makes you reevaluate, like jump scares, blood, okay, cool. But like making you reevaluate the things around you and go, am I really as safe as I think I am? That's real horror to me. And I think Scream does that better than any other movie that we have in the horror genre, which is why it's so good. And this level of detail and dedication to so many little things just takes this movie and elevates it. But then they also throw in like the meta commentary and the meta jokes, like the idea that the principal, Fonzie, has the jacket in the closet, or the idea that he opens the door and he's like, you turning and you think it's going to be a jump scare, and then you think, oh shit, it is, and you go, no, it's just the janitor dressed like like Freddy Krueger. It's like, oh, all right. Oh, thank God. Like, we're talking about this now. And once we finish this review, I now want to just go watch it. Like, that's the level of how good that movie is. So, to your point, it's going to be so tough for a movie to be to top this as number one. It's the best. It's the best out of the franchise.
Yeah. It's the best one. It's the one that's always talked about to this day. And it's the one that every other Scream is judged by, and every other Scream seems to fall just that little bit short to what that perfection was with that first one. Like, when we did our review, I think we both gave it like a 9 out of 10, and I adjusted my score after talking about Scream 2. I was like, it's actually a 9.5 if you really think about it. Like, it's near perfection on a horror genre, and it's the best Scream film by far to both of us. But we want to know from you guys watching, what do you guys think? Do you think that Scream 1 is the greatest of the franchise? Do you have Scream 4, Scream 2, Scream 5, Scream 6? I've heard several people who put those films on the same level as Scream 1. We want to know from you in the comments.
We need to find the person that says Scream 7 is the best one.
I mean, we did do a short that someone was like, he really loved the Scream 7. So maybe there's someone who really enjoyed it, really was surprised by the Ghostface reveals. To each its own. It is your opinion. That was our opinion, our ranking of every single Scream film. StatKing, thank you as always for joining me here. I've had a lot of fun breaking down all of Scream so far with you, but I don't think we're done quite yet. I think we got one more thing to do, and I think everybody should know what that one more thing is, because we've ranked every Scream film, but the most important part of Scream is the person who's on the thumbnail on this video. So our last thing to do is a ranking of every single Ghostface, meaning that we're going to rank 16 different Ghostface. I think that's the number after Scream 7. I think it's 16, maybe 17, if you count Greg, who was chopped up in the fridge in Scream 6. So
is our criteria that it's anybody that wore the mask?
Well, if it's anyone who wore the mask, then Sam and Sidney as well. So no.
That's right.
So no, it has to be Ghostface killers, those who attended to kill either one of our main antagonists or basically was the murderer of
so
this.
So we got number one and be like, all right, where are we going?
I'm gonna count it up now. So we got 2 in Scream 1.
Yeah.
We got 2 in Scream 2.
Yeah.
We got 1 in Scream 3.
Yeah.
We got 2 in Scream 4. We got 2 in Scream 5. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 technically in Scream 6. With Jason and Greg counted in there, so that is 14. And then we got 2 more in Scream
3.
You're right. So yeah, it's 17. So we got 17 Ghostface to rank on our next video, capping off all of our Scream coverage. Thank you as always to the StatKing. Let the people know where they can follow you on social media and when they will see you again on True Hill Heat Sports and Entertainment.
So you guys can always catch me here on True Hill Heat Sports Entertainment, covering football during the off season and during the season in True Picks. We're gonna have another off season episode coming out soon because free agency frenzy really did start right before the legal tampering period started for the new NFL year. You can also catch me for The Pit, clocking in for The Pit with myself and Chase. We do a review series that covers, so we're starting with, we did a season 1 recap, and now we're going episode by episode for season 2. We'll have more of that coming soon. And the most recent one we did is episode 2, the 8 a.m. episode. And then you could always catch me as well with Sid breaking down everything from Scream, but also talking about music. We had True Headphone Heat, where we broke down the J. Cole album, and we're going to be talking about more music to come with that. So those are the things that I pop up for, and then I'm going to have a few more things now that Sid helped me learn how to add a thumbnail to a pre-recorded video. I will be able to.
He's like, now you done unleashed me.
I will be able to record and air at my heart's content. So
there you go. Yes, join us for that. Check those out if you haven't already. You can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. You can see a bunch of my work over on True Hill Heat Wrestling YouTube channel. But here on True Hill Sports and Entertainment, like StatKing said, True Headphone Heat, the Scream reviews and rankings. Also check out True Hill Heat Check with me and Chris G, breaking down everything from the NBA world. Our last episode, number 25, where we ranked the top 10 guards in the league. Today we're coming back with the top 10 forwards and centers ranking. That's going to be probably next week here on the channel. But like I said before, we got one more Scream review, and you guys I'll let it be open in the comment section or in the live chat. Let us know if you want any other Scream rankings that we can do, because we can do characters, we could do other stuff, kills, openings, stuff like that.
That would be an interesting one. Oh man.
Yeah. So I'll leave it open. So this will be our last one for now, until you guys give us a good suggestion. Join us back here where we're going to rank every single Ghostface from the Scream franchise. That is next up for you guys to watch. But until then, for the StatKing, it is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. This has been our every Scream film ranked review. We are signing off until next time.